How's it going everyone, Jimmy here, and today I want to talk about esports and the state of the FGC. Now this video is somewhat of a response to Mike Ross's AMA on Reddit. In case you haven't checked it out, there's a link to the Reddit post in the description below. For those of you who don't know who Mike Ross is, he basically started out as a competitor in Street Fighter and he transitioned more and more into the media side of things, where he would produce content specifically targeted to the FGC. In June 2017, he produced a video titled Mike Ross Breaks His Silence About Esports. It had a very serious tone to it, and Mike basically breaks down how esports is corrupting the FGC, and in general how the FGC is heading in a really bad direction thanks to esports. And yeah, as I said, it had a very serious tone to it, but at the end it kind of took a turn and it seemed like everything was just a joke. To me, the way the video was created, I always thought Mike Ross was being serious with everything he was saying back then. And after reading the AMA, it's very clear that the video was no joke whatsoever. To me, it seems like Mike is focusing on every negative aspect about esports. And I think the very first question that he asks in the video is very important. He asks, what even is esports? And to me, esports is a consequence of the FGC growth and the rise of Twitch, probably because tournaments are more popular than ever, and gaming companies like Capcom, they see an opportunity to promote their games by directly investing in the competitive scene. All of that comes with some serious implications, and if we want to grow as a community, we have to be willing to give up some control. Like, think about how the FGC used to be like back when, like in 2009, okay? Like tournaments were way smaller back then. And obviously if you go to a tournament that only has like 50 people in there, it's gonna be different from a tournament that has 3,000 people there. It has to be different. Like, there is no way it's gonna be the same thing. And that's the paradox. Everyone wants to see growth within the community, but they want it to stay the same. Like, that's impossible. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You have to choose. And as I said, esports is a direct consequence of the growth of the FGC. So if we want to stay somewhat in control over like the direction the FGC is heading, I think the best way to do that is by having people from that community in influential positions so we can steer things in the right direction. And I think Mike Ross was a prime example of a person in such a position. Just to be clear, I'm not saying Mike Ross has some kind of obligation towards the FGC to steer things in the right direction and that he should have stayed in his position. I really think if you don't enjoy whatever it is you're doing, you should not be doing that. So in that sense, I kind of agree with Mike for him to quit. Like, he was clearly not enjoying his job, so he should have quit, and that's what he did, so fair enough. But at the same time, you can't just blame everything on esports. I mean, Mike was not a big fan of Street Fighter 5, and in a sense he's right when he says esports ruined his job or made him quit, because he was forced to produce content for a game he clearly dislikes. So yeah, he's kinda right in that sense, but it also opens up a completely different discussion. A lot of people try to argue that Street Fighter 5 is only successful because of the esports push by Capcom. I really believe that's BS. That's not right at all. I mean, I have very fond memories of Street Fighter 4, and like it was like the first big Street Fighter title I played competitively. So like, I have very fond memories, as I said, but I still see the issues gameplay wise we had with Street Fighter 4, and Street Fighter 5 actually fixes a lot of those issues. It introduces completely new ones. Like, that's something I definitely want to say as well. Street Fighter 5 is very far from being a perfect game, but Street Fighter 4 also was not a perfect game, and if 5 is not enjoyable, then people will not play it. I think Marvel Infinite is a good example of a game that failed because it just couldn't get the community support. The same thing would have happened with Street Fighter 5. Like, we wouldn't have seen this Capcom Pro Tour thing from Capcom if Street Fighter 5 was not doing well, if it was not well received within the community. I mean, yes, there are a lot of people who dislike 5, but at the same time, Street Fighter 5 has a lot of fans. So clearly the game is not a failure. It's a lot of fun to play. For me personally, if you dislike it, that's fine. But you can't make the argument that every other Street Fighter title or Street Fighter 4 was way better and we're only playing Street Fighter 5 because of the game. That's clearly not the case, and we have Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite as a great example of a game that failed because it couldn't get the community support, even though Capcom announced that they wanted to make the esports push with that title as well, and they backed off because it couldn't get the community support. The point I'm trying to get across is that companies like Capcom are motivated to create good products, because otherwise the esports aspect is just not gonna work out. So in a sense, because of esports, we're gonna see enjoyable experiences because companies have to deliver on that. If a game is just not fun to play, or if there's something seriously wrong with a game, then it's just not gonna see any community support. So yeah guys, that's my take on esports. I know this is a pretty polarizing topic and there's a lot to say about it, so definitely let me know what you guys think about like the Mike Ross situation, maybe esports in general, or whether or not we're heading in the right direction within the FGC. So yeah guys, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.